These are the stories
My little girl, she's changing lives just by being herself.
of organizations and people making a difference.
When you first tell someone about adaptive wheelchair boxing, it doesn't sound real.
And empowering others
It saved my life. It saved my life.
across Canada
I scored my first goal in my first blind hockey game.
in our community.
There's a great group of people here, frontline workers, speech-language pathologists, occupational therapists, APSI, OT students, and we're here today at a Makers Making Change event to learn how to adapt toys. My name is Anne-Marie Peters, and I'm an occupational therapist. I work in schools in Prince Edward Island.
Armed with screwdrivers and soldering irons, Anne-Marie and her colleagues happily poke and prod at battery-operated toys. Their task is to add an external switch or an on-off button to each toy, making the toys easy to operate for children with disabilities.
Everybody here was so excited to come to this event. There's a great need for having toys on Prince Edward Island. Most of us work with people, children, adults who might not be able to access toys in a traditional sense, so they might need to use a switch in order to play with a toy. And it's really important that we honor the different ways and unique ways that different people play. And it's important for everybody to have that opportunity to play. Everybody deserves to play. Everybody deserves joy in their lives. And play is exactly that. It is finding joy, however you choose to find joy. So it is so wonderful that there's a variety of different toys here today that we can adapt.
Play is fun, but it's vital for the developmental and social growth in children.
My name's Yvonne Thompson, and I'm an occupational therapist with the School Therapy OT program in Prince Edward Island. Toys is what active inclusion is all about, being able to participate with your peers in play, and play is such an important part of a person's life, children, youth, and adults. And it actually really, for those who have to do play in a different way, depending upon their abilities, it allows them to actively engage and participate with those that they want to engage and play with, and it's also an opportunity for learning. It's what active inclusion really is all about.
My name is Courtney Cameron, and I am the East Region Coordinator for Makers Making Change. Makers Making Change is a program of Neil Squire Society, and we are all about connecting people with disabilities to volunteer makers so they can have more affordable assistive technology. If you think about a traditional toy or a toy that you might go buy off the shelf from a retail store, they can have really small buttons, or they might need to be able to squeeze your hands to use toys. Some fine motor skills. Not every child can play with a toy that way. So what we do is we open them up and we adapt them.
Bubble blowers, lava lamps, walking plushies, and barking dogs are just a few of the favorite toys that get adapted.
Pikachu is a hit. So 5-year-old to 12-year-old really like Pikachu and Pokemon, so that hits on a lot. Bubble machines will always be popular. I always do those. It's sort of the same toys, but little different things. I always just try to hit as many different trends or age demographics as I can to have a little something for everybody.
When the toys are open or hacked into, an alternative input is added by soldering extra wiring into the toy. This allows an assistive button or switch to be plugged in. The attached button makes the toy easy to interact with.
This workshop was something I had been looking forward to because I hear so often from clinicians, families, people who need assistive tech and adapted toys. This is so cool, I want to know how to do this. So it's really something that I want to start providing everywhere and showing people that you can do this.
Adapting toys is fairly simple, but soldering the tiny wires is tricky and takes patience.
Solder on your wires, and then same idea.
So, and that's like while it's still hot. So
Yep.
Okay.
Well, then let it dry.
Okay. Let it
And then take your soldering iron, hold these two together, take your soldering iron and hold it on the old and the new metal parts of the wire.
Okay.
Even as Yvonne thoroughly enjoys herself, she's having a little trouble with the process.
I am trying to adapt a lava toy. I'm working very hard at it. I don't know if I'm going to succeed, but in the end, there will be a lava toy that is adapted to use with a switch.
Intrigued by its vibrant moving colors, Anne-Marie also adapts a jellyfish lava lamp.
I'm very excited about just the visual input and the nice slow movement of the jellyfish. I think is going to be a hit.
They are hard at work, making sure they finish the toys so they can share them with their clients.
We want to help people participate in life in a satisfactory way. So if we're able to meet that child where they're at, know how they best activate a switch, we can have a switch adapted toy, link them together, and the child can play. So an example of that is the bubble machine. That is a really wonderful way for children to go outside at recess or play with their siblings at home. They can turn on the bubble machine and their friends can run around and pop the bubbles, and it's just a really wonderful way to just have everybody included in that wonderful occupation of play.
Even adapting is fun.
Soldering successful.
The assistive switch makes it possible for all children with disabilities to experience the joy of play.
We think about the amount of force a child needs to activate the switch. We might think of where the switch needs to be placed, because there's some children that will access a switch with their head or their hand or just their finger. Could be the side of their knee, and then maybe we mount the switch on the side of a wheelchair. Could be their foot. So we're always looking at how can this child or person reliably activate a switch. And so what's wonderful is here we're getting switches, or we're making switches. We're getting access to different, a variety of toys, because these toys are as unique as the children and people that we work with.
I think it's wonderful to build awareness about this opportunity and to really come together as a united community in supporting children and youth and adults to be able to actively participate in the things that are meaningful for them.
Ideally, we would love to see inventories of toys and switches kind of all over the island, so that we can change it up to use different toys with different children, because everybody's taste will change. So if we can build up that inventory here, it really helps us as clinicians to help the children and make timely recommendations, because we have everything at the ready.
Our community will return after the break. We now return to our community. At West Isle Composite High School on Prince Edward Island, students with disabilities enjoy the adapted toys, while their high school peers learn how to make the switches that bring the toys to life. With soldering irons, safety glasses, and ready-to-go instructions, Courtney Cameron guides the students into the world of adapted toys.
It can be that simple, right? That every kid should have some toy that they love to play with or love to interact with. That's enough of a reason, but then there's all these other reasons about how it will help them use their assistive technology later in life. If they have to develop some communication skills using assistive tech, it will help them with that later on, because they're buying in, they want to use their switches, because the way they started was for fun, right? And so all of that stuff is important. Kids learn through play. Playing and using toys is all part of development, and that's true for kids with disabilities too. So this switch that I have in my hand is a 3D printed version, and this is actually what you guys are going to build for us today. So assist or an assistive switch is really just an on-off button. But this is actually really, really useful for somebody with a disability, because what it allows us to do is to change or customize what that button might look like, okay?
The switches that are assembled by the students will be given to kids in the province who need them to play.
When you have stripped your wires, you're gonna have a bunch of silvery strands in there. Take all those silvery strands and twist them together, because that's actually one wire.
My name is Chris. I go to West Isle School, grade 12, so it's my final year here. I'm learning how to make buttons for people who have disabilities, like they can't do a lot of things that we can't do. I'm a hands-on person, so this is definitely something I enjoy.
The opportunity to discuss what technology can mean to people or different ways that people use technology is always really, really great. And then also we get to do some really cool skills with kids so they can learn soldering, assembly, we can talk about 3D printing, we can incorporate those core STEM skills, so science, technology, engineering, and math. And then at the end of the day, we also have a bunch of devices that are needed in the community that we can then give away to those who need them.
Adapted toys are expensive. Just one switch can cost a parent or clinician over $100. But the 3D printed switches that Courtney provides cost less than $10 each to make. Even the teachers at West Isle get in on the action.
My name is Colin Dillon. I am a health and phys ed teacher at West Isle Composite High School, and I also teach leadership. When we have community organizations that help, and their mandate is to help communities and partners and other individuals that may or may not have different challenges that they live with at home, if we can bring that in and give that empathy to students and give them the opportunity to feel empowered that they are making a difference, I think that's something that we should always advocate for in schools. I saw students that bought in, and I saw students that were particular and they wanted to do good work. And I think when, again, that ties to knowing that the product that they were creating today was going to someone else and going to a bigger, more important experience. And for helping as simple as making a toy become more accessible for someone else, I think that hits home for a lot of students and kids.
Can you see the lights? Good job.
My name's Carly LeClaire. I am grade 12 and I go to West Isle High School. Basically we made, I don't exactly know what it's called, but it helps people with the disabilities be able to basically play with toys. So basically this plugs into the toy, and this button makes it easier for them to basically activate the toy, so they could just press on it wherever it needs to be placed, and then it activates the toy for them.
Before this workshop, Carly didn't realize that children with disabilities may miss opportunities to engage with toys like others do.
I'm glad that today I got the opportunity to do this, because now I know that there is something out there that can help them, because I never really thought about it, how they would enjoy and play with toys.
Chris found joy in this work, and he's making his 6th switch. This one's for a friend.
There's someone that I know that's in this school that I want to give this to. Jackson is his name. I played with him a lot. He's a great guy. Give this to him for sure. I think he'd love buttons.
Our community will return after the break. We now return to our community.
I give you the instructions, I give you the tools and the parts, I help you out a little bit.
Courtney Cameron is excited to host a Hacking for the Holidays community workshop at STEAM PEI in Charlottetown. This festive gathering was launched in 2022.
So Hacking for the Holidays is all about getting people together to switch adapt toys so we can provide them to families or children that need them for the holiday season.
Participants pick out their favorite toys, and then they hack.
We get people who do this as a hobby and love making stuff and just think it's cool. We get families who want to learn how to do it, either to provide for somebody that they know or their own children. We just get a wide variety of people.
My name's Dana Blakely, and I'm an educational assistant here in Prince Edward Island with the Public Schools branch.
Dana visits STEAM PEI with her granddaughter often. She heard about this workshop through an ad on the organization's website.
When I realized about the Makers Making Change and the Hacking for the Holidays project specifically, I thought it was a way that we could do something together as a family to give back to our community for Christmas.
You gonna help?
I'm gonna try. This project kind of took into consideration their needs, and that's one of the first times that I've ever heard of hacking a toy, adapting the switches and the controls so that a student with issues could easily access the same toys as our regular population.
Like many of the participants, Dana's husband is completely absorbed in the task of rewiring. So much so that he doesn't even glance up from his tinkering of a walking and talking unicorn.
There's quite a bit of hacking going on, so it looks like it's turning out to be a great day.
Dana taught in PEI for over a decade, and she has big plans for the toys.
We have a number of students who use assistive devices and technology, being whether it's an iPad for communication, have issues with fine motor, control.
Prior to the workshop, Dana and her fellow teachers compiled a list of students who need an adapted toy.
As a group, we put together names and forwarded names for about 8 students of various abilities and needs, and hoping that we can make all those adaptations to those toys today and present them in the coming weeks for Christmas.
They are on course to meet their deadline.
The goal of toys to adapt in PEI will be 50. We'll probably easily do 60 though when we get finished up with them all.
Thrilled with the toys that Courtney packs, Dana can't wait to give them to the students she supports.
I have for you 3 switches of this type, and then I have 4 different types that I'll send with you. So feel free to try them out. So if there's some switches you love and you have lots of need for them, you know they're going to be one, let me know and I'll make sure to get you more. And a Peppa Pig.
Awesome.
Here you go, this is yours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The adapted toys are wrapped and ready as Dana greets 13-year-old Dane Simpson and his mom.
Hello. How are you?
Good.
So we have a present for you. Would you like to see it?
Dane's skeptical at first, but his curiosity is piqued when he unwraps a plush robotic dog.
I'm Coralie Simpson, and this is my son, Dane Simpson. Dane was born with a brachial plexus injury in his left arm, so his shoulder and arm has limited mobility, but he can use his hand, so he does use mostly his right hand, right arm. So just having access to a variety of toys or materials that are adapted, it's everything.
Dane's mom shows him how to use the switch.
So is it easier sometimes when you just have one switch and you can do the puppy with that? Is that easy to use this? Because you just have to press it one button, right?
And it doesn't take long for Dane to expertly walk the puppy across the floor while it barks up a storm. Courtney Cameron's drive to run Hacking for the Holidays stems from witnessing the joy children experience when they are gifted a toy they can play with.
I absolutely do love it, and I don't know that I can sum it up that well, other than I know that there's a need in the community. I've seen the results of it. I just want to keep doing it, and it's fun. It's fun to open up a toy and see how it works. We tend to focus on medical needs for people with disabilities. Everybody sees a disability first, and so it's all about medical and the health-related stuff. But there's absolutely no reason that play isn't important too.
Coralie draws hope in the boundless possibilities. If a toy can be adapted, then what other opportunities exist? This sentiment is significant, especially when she contemplates her son's future.
Some toys or instruments can be difficult for him to use. Like a piano, it's okay. His hand Mobility is okay, but we know, playing a drum set would be difficult with his left arm. So thinking that anything can be adapted, then let's do it. Like it can be, we just have to find the way. And this proves it, that the variety of toys that were adapted, there's a way to have things easier for our ones that need a little more support.
Producers Rachel Bauer, Christine McLean. Director Rachel Bauer. Writer Rachel Bauer. Director of Photography Scott Barrington. Post-production Brendan Wilson. Special thanks West Isle Composite High School, West Royalty Elementary School, Stacy Nickel, STEAM PEI. Frankie, Jackie, and Krista Hartland Cote. Carolyn, Christy, and Alexis Fletcher. Directors Guild of Canada, Maritimes. Narrator, Mark Phoenix. Graphics, Andrew Antonello. Integrated Described Video Consultant, M. Williams. Supervising Producer, Jennifer Johnson. Content Development Specialist, Karen McGee. Director, Programming, Lisanne Gagne. Director, Content Development and Production, Kara Nye. Vice President, Content Development and Operations, John Melville. President and CEO, David Arrington. Copyright 2024, Accessible Media, Inc.
An AMI original production.